Drizzle ORM is a tool that makes it easy for you to work with databases in your TypeScript projects. It simplifies connecting to your database, running queries, and managing your data. It also works great in serverless environments and multiple runtimes such as Node, Bun, Dino, and Cloudflare workers. Today you'll learn how to set up Drizzle with Postgres in a Next.js project. Head to the Postgres section on Drizzle's website by searching Drizzle Postgres. I'll be using Bun because it's fast at installing packages, but feel free to use any package manager. Start by installing Drizzle ORM, Postgres, and Drizzle Kit. We'll also install UUID to create unique IDs. In the source directory, create a folder called db. Create a file called schema.ts. Here we'll add a basic schema for a user's table with ID, name, and email columns. We'll also create an index for email, for cases where you need to find a user based on their email. Indexes are automatically created for primary IDs, so we won't need to create one separately for the ID. Create a file called db.ts. This will contain our Drizzle client. Here we create our client, which includes the schema we just created. Providing the schema gives us type-safe access to our database. Create a utils file. This file contains a simple helper function to create unique IDs for our records. Lastly, we'll create an index.ts file in the db folder to export our Drizzle client and utils. Next, we'll create a Postgres database using Docker and make sure it's up and running. Next, create a .env file with the following connection URL. We can now copy this URL and view it in a database client such as Table Plus, which is my favorite tool for exploring databases. Back in VS Code, create a file called drizzle.config.ts. This contains the main settings for Drizzle Kit to connect to our database. In package.json, add a script called dbpush. This will push our schema to our database using the Drizzle config we just created. Run the dbpush command. Refresh your database client, confirm that your schema has been pushed. You should see a users table with ID, name, and email columns. Next, let's create an API endpoint that will allow us to add and view records from our database. First, we'll import our database client and user table. Then create a GET endpoint that displays all users from the database. After that, we'll create a POST endpoint where we get the name and email from the request. Insert a new record in the users table using the createUniqueID function from the utils. Then respond with the result. Let's test our API in Postman. Create a new GET request with URL localhost 3000/API. This should return an empty array of users, as we haven't added any users yet. Add a user by making a POST request to the same endpoint. Change the body of the request to raw JSON and add a name and email as data. Submit the request. This creates a new user in the database. And that's it. You now have Next.js set up with Drizzle connected to a Postgres database. Subscribe for more tutorials like this, and let me know in the comments what topic I should cover next. Thanks.